Hi, I'm Stefan Kesting, and today I'm wearing the Self-Defense Tutorials hat, and I'd like to address a question that came up in the martial arts Reddit forum, and it's a really good question. Somebody was asking, they were brand new, if all you can do is train once a week, is it worth it? Can you make progress in your martial arts journey training just one time a week? Now, there's going to be a sub-answer here, and that's if you're an experienced martial artist and all of a sudden you can only train once a week after coming down from a more heavy training schedule, can you still continue to make progress? And I'll answer that at the end. But for now, initially, let's just talk about the beginner, somebody who's just starting out in their martial arts journey. Can you make progress on training just once a week? And the answer is yes, but. Yes, you can make progress, but it won't be as fast as training 2 or 3 times a week. Training 2 or 3 times a week is probably ideal for somebody just, dipping their toe into the martial arts water. If they go and train 5, 6, 7 times a week, or God help us, multiple times a day, they're gonna get injured because their body's not used to it. Or you're just training Tai Chi and your body's never gonna get injured. And if you're never running the risk of injury, then basically the odds of that martial art being an effective martial art in a real life situation are almost zero. So here's the unfair thing. If you're training 2 or 3 times a week, you're actually going to make more than twice or 3 times as much progress than if you just train once a week. Let me explain. If you train once a week, you train every Monday. You go in, you learn a bunch of stuff, you train a bunch of stuff, and then you leave. In that intervening week, you're going to lose some information. You're going to forget some information up here, and your body's going to forget how to pull that stuff off. When you train, your level goes up, and then over the subsequent period of time, your level starts going down. So if you're training 2 or 3 times a week, your level goes up, and it goes down a little bit, but not too far. Then it goes up again when you train, and then it goes down a little bit in the 1 or 2 or 3 days off, but not too far. Then it goes up again. So it's like a saw blade going up. Yeah, you forget a little bit after every class, but not too much. If you train just once a week, you're going to forget more, your body's going to forget more, and you're going to decondition more. Your body will get less fit in that intervening 6 days of not training. But some training is better than no training. It's 1,000 times better than no training. So my answer is almost always yes. If all you can do is train once a week, train once a week. Down the road, your life may change, and you'll have some base of knowledge. You'll have that initial base of training that, you've laid the foundations, both in your body and your mind, for ramping up your training later, if your life circumstances change, or, more to the point, if you like training so much that you change your life circumstances. Maybe you get so into, Muay Thai, that all of a sudden, that 6 a.m. class that you thought there's no way in hell I'm going to get up at 5 in the morning to go do Muay Thai at 6 in the morning. If that's the only time you can do it and you fall in love on your once a week Saturday afternoon class, you'll find ways to slot in more training other days of the week. So, some tips if you can only train once a week. How do you get as good as you can with only that once a week training? Number 1, really pay attention in class. And that's that seems pretty obvious, but a lot of people are there and they're doing what the instructor tells them, and then they start chatting and how was Guardians of the Galaxy? Yeah, it's pretty good. I especially like the opening scene, and that raccoon's pretty cute, and they're not training. They're not focusing on what they're doing. The more you focus on what you're doing while you are at class, during that precious hour and a half, 2 hours that you're training, just bloody train. Just focus on that. And similarly, keeping your head in the game for the rest of the week, for those 6 days in between your once a week classes, try to keep your head in the game. Try and go over the moves that you learned. Mentally visualize them, right? Close your eyes, go, okay, my right hand went here, my left hand went here, then I was supposed to pull the guy towards me. That's a very gross simplification of a cross choke from guard. But initially when you're starting, 3 steps and pulling and forgetting about all the nuances is better than not thinking about it at all. Similarly, you can keep your head in the game by what we used to call watching tape or studying tape. I hear there's a site called YouTube, and pretty much any martial art you're starting out in will have some basic tutorials. Now, maybe the tutorial you're watching talks about punching the guy with a fist turned over at 45 degrees and your instructor says here. Does that make that tutorial useless? No, because it's teaching you that there are other ways to do the same technique, and maybe you pick up things about shoulder movement, body movement, head movement, and you have to make that final little tweak to make it compliant with whatever your instructor's teaching. Pretty much any knowledge is good knowledge so long as you maintain a skeptical worldview, right? If there are sites out there that are telling you the way to defend against a jab is to do the full Karate Kid and hop around on one foot and get the guy to chase you, okay, your BS detector should be going off. But generally, if you're fairly intelligent and your BS detector is turned on, any studying you do is good studying. Try and watch competition of whatever sport that or whatever martial art you're training, if it has competition, it has some form of competitive aspect to it. And another really important thing, if you're only training once a week, you cannot rely on that once a week training session to bring your fitness up. And there's a couple of reasons your fitness is super important. Number one, it allows you to get more out of that one class. If you just go once a week and your heart rate goes up and your muscles get taxed, then you got 6 days to decondition. And also, you're probably going to get tired halfway through the class or a third of the way through the class. And a tired mind absorbs so much less information than a mind that's not tired. A mind that's sitting in a tired body, it's pretty much done. Yeah, you're maybe developing toughness by keeping on going, but your brain isn't picking up anything more. So, say you can only go and train once a week, your Saturday afternoon's class. If you're doing conditioning, especially cardio, another couple of times a week, it'll allow you to get way more out of that one training session because you'll be fresher the whole time. You'll be able to use your brain continuously the whole time or closer to the whole time. And you'll retain more. Not to mention the benefit that additional conditioning will do on cutting down on injury time and improving your actual martial arts effectiveness if you ever have to use that stuff on the street. And finally, if your martial art allows it, try to do some solo training. Boxers shadow box for a reason. For one, they're not taking damage. For two, they can work on the nuances of their technique without the extreme consequences of getting plowed in the face if they screw up, right? It allows them to do a low stakes training and get those repetitions in. So if you can, shadow box. If you can, hit a heavy bag. If you can, say in a jiu-jitsu context, do some shrimping. Do some bridging. Do some of the more advanced solo exercises on the ground. They in themselves are not going to get you to black belt level. But it keeps your head in the game, and that way you're not wasting time when you're actually on the mat, when you're actually training, trying to figure out, how does my arm extend here? Does it go like this or does it go like that? There's a right and a wrong answer. How do I shrimp here? Does my weight go on my shoulder or the side of my ribs? There's a right and a wrong answer. And if you do some solo drilling, it'll really, really help you when you come back and actually can train with a partner under the supervision of a teacher. Now, before I go, let's just quickly address this issue of what if you're an experienced martial artist? What if you've been training 4 times a week for years and you're pretty happy with where your level is, but now something comes along. You have a kid. You've got a new baby in the house. Unless some baby mama's raising that kid far away from you, you're gonna not be able to train as much. I've been through this myself. Well, not the baby mama part. Unless some letter arrives later in the mail informing me of the opportunity to pay child support to some woman that I only met once. Barring that, I've been through the normal, young child in the house phase. And you're not gonna get much better. You might find your training from 4 times a week going down to 2 times a week or even 1 time a week. Maybe you get injured. Maybe your job gets super busy. Maybe you move away. Maybe some crazy stuff's going on in your family. And all you can do is train once a week, where you used to be able to train more times a week. Should you still train? Yes. The danger is to go, screw it, I can't keep at the level that I was at. I got to black belt level and I could hang with other black belts and we could spar and I could beat them up and they could beat me up. And now I can only train once a week. And after a couple months of doing that, I'm noticing that all these guys that I was neck and neck with are beginning to get the better of me consistently. So screw it. I'm going to take my toys. I'm going to go home. I'm going to leave this sandbox. That's the wrong thing to do. It's hard on the ego to find that all of a sudden guys you used to hang with are able to clean your clock on a fairly regular basis. But you know what? Their turn will come too. they'll have those kids. They'll have that family drama. They'll get married. They'll have to work full time or whatever it is that's forcing you to go to a reduced training schedule. And then you can have your revenge, so long as you keep training now. Once a week, it's probably not enough to even keep your skills where they were, but it'll slow the decline. And if you work on sort of the core fundamentals of your art, maybe not the upside down inverted spin to triangle choke, but basic guard pass prevention and setting up the triangle choke from open guard, to use a jiu-jitsu example. Basic jab, cross, hook on a bag, so that at least that one combination stays nice and sharp, as opposed to your crazy, bolo punch into a Superman punch combo. If you work the fundamentals of the art, you'll slow that decline considerably. And if you're doing a little bit of extra conditioning, like I talked about earlier, you can keep it alive. You can stay within striking distance for when your life, calms down and you can up your training again. So don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Don't make it an all or nothing thing. Screw it. If I can't train, if I can't be at that, elite level, I'm not going to train at all. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Just do as best as you can and work on getting your life or setting up your circumstances so that you can train more often. I hope this helped. There's a long-winded answer to a very good question. Can you get better at martial arts if all you can do is train once a week? Take care and good luck with your training, however many times a week it is.